It's been a full year since the moment that shattered my world. Since my husband Eric walked in on me in the middle of the most shameful mistake of my life. Not with a stranger, not with someone anonymous and distant, but with Mark, my boss, someone who knew me, who knew Eric, who had shared dinners and boardrooms and business talk in our home. That morning wasn't supposed to go like that. Eric was meant to be at work. Mark came over like he had so many times before, slipping into my life with charm and secrecy. We had been sneaking around for months, reckless and delusional. I told myself it was excitement, escape, something I deserved. But that illusion crumbled the second Eric stood in the doorway of our bedroom. He didn't shout. He didn't curse. He didn't throw a single thing. His voice was quiet, steady in a way that chilled me far more than any storm of rage. "What the hell is this?" he asked. Mark, ever the coward, grabbed his clothes and fled without looking back. I was left there exposed, scrambling to make sense of what couldn't be excused. I tried to explain. I reached for anything, an apology, a reason, a plea. But Eric didn't flinch. "You have 5 minutes," he said. "Get out of my house." He left the room and I gathered whatever I could, my hands trembling, heart shattered. By the end of the week, the divorce papers were filed. The story of what happened spread faster than I could contain it. Friends distanced themselves. My family's silence was colder than any judgment. And Mark, he disappeared from my life almost instantly. Said it was too complicated to keep me at the firm. Just like that, I was unemployed, untethered, alone. In a matter of days, everything I had built, my marriage, my reputation, my career, was gone. I moved into a cheap motel that reeked of smoke and sadness. Later, I found a small apartment that barely held warmth. I got a job at a diner, where I spent my days pouring coffee and wiping tables for tips. From managing major clients to scrubbing ketchup off vinyl booths, it was humbling, humiliating, and so very lonely. Sometimes I heard bits and pieces about Eric. He had been promoted. He was doing well. Eventually, I learned he was dating again. Her name was Rachel. She was radiant, educated, successful, gracious. Everything I had once had and thrown away. About 6 months after the divorce, strange things started to happen. My rent was suddenly raised without explanation. My hours at the diner were cut. And every job application I submitted, every interview I landed, somehow dissolved into polite rejection. I started to wonder if it was more than bad luck. One evening, while clearing dishes in the diner, I overheard 2 former colleagues talking near the counter. "Did you hear? Eric bought out Mark's company." My heart dropped. It didn't make sense. Eric wasn't even in the same industry. But when I began connecting the dots, the picture became terrifyingly clear. This wasn't a business move. This was a message. Eric had used his influence, his resources, and his meticulous planning to dismantle everything tied to my betrayal. Mark's company? Taken from beneath him. He was still there, technically, but only as a figurehead in a company Eric now controlled. My apartment, owned by a holding company, one tied to Eric. The diner? The owner owed Eric a personal favor. Every rejection, every obstacle, I could trace it back to him. It wasn't hate. It was justice. Quiet, calculated, relentless. I couldn't let it go unanswered. I needed to see him. His new home was beautiful, modern, tasteful, like something out of an architectural magazine. When he opened the door, he didn't look angry. He looked calm. "What are you doing here, Emma?" he asked. "I know what you've been doing," I said, my voice shaking. "The job rejections. The rent. The diner. It's all you, isn't it?" He didn't lie. Didn't deny a thing. He let me in. Sat across from me and explained it all. Without bitterness, without venom. "Yes," he said quietly. "I made it hard for you. But not out of hate. I needed you to understand what it feels like to have your world ripped apart by someone else's selfishness. I needed closure." He paused, then leaned in slightly, his voice soft but firm. "I don't hate you, Emma. I don't think about you at all anymore. I've moved on." Tears welled up in my eyes. And as I sat there, watching this man I had once called home, I understood. I had shattered something sacred, something that couldn't be repaired. He didn't seek revenge to ruin me. He sought it to reflect the weight of what I had done. That night, when I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized the woman staring back. But beneath the shame, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: resolve. I began therapy, not just to face my guilt, but to rediscover who I was before the choices that derailed me. I enrolled in community college, started rebuilding from the ground up. It wasn't easy. Nothing was. But I showed up every day. I worked. I grew. A year after that final confrontation, I heard Mark had left town. His reputation ruined, his power gone. Eric, on the other hand, had married Rachel. They looked truly happy. Whole. As for me, I'm still in the process of becoming someone new. I have a different job now, different people around me. And for the first time in a long while, I have a sense of self-worth that doesn't depend on validation or status. Eric's revenge wasn't about destruction. It was about awakening. He made me face the full consequence of my actions. It hurt, but it forced me to grow. I'll carry the weight of that betrayal forever. The scar isn't just on him, it's on me too. And sometimes, that's the real cost of breaking someone's heart. You break your own in the process.